Technology is a big one. I've talked to my good friends at BreakBeatCode about the way that they do an afternoon workshop for young kids, 12 to 18 years old. And in 4 hours, kids who have never touched a computer, have ever before in their lives, can now do programming, basics of programming in Python. BreakBeatCode, it's a great program. I didn't talk to them this year, but you go back in the archives. In 4 hours, kids that have never even known that computer programming was a thing, have now understood the basics of computer programming. Why? Because they learned it by making beats. Because there's a bunch of musics on the side and you got to pull from the repository of loops and drum loops and samples and put them on top of each other and layer them like a producer does and make these dope beats. But you can't drag and drop. No, you got to program it. You got to call it with programming language. And in 4 hours, these kids go to 0 to 100 in terms of computer programming out of the gate. Hip hop and technology. I do an entire keynote talk about it. I've consulted with technology companies about how you can use hip hop in an authentic way. I say use, but not abuse. In an authentic way. Connect with communities. Bring in innovators from communities that are traditionally underserved in the tech community. Come on, man. Only like 6%, 7% of the entire tech industry are Black or Hispanic. Maybe even the numbers are lower. Like, but I'll give you an hour-long keynote and blow your mind about all the ways that hip-hop folk have innovated technologically, have innovated technology through the years. So why aren't they working for you? Why aren't you bringing them into the mix? It doesn't make any sense. Don't you want to succeed? Don't you want to bring new innovation? Don't you want to help those communities strive? It doesn't make any sense. My man Darrell Booker, though, up at Microsoft, does a really good job. A really good job of keeping his hip-hop sensibilities, working with communities, working with nonprofits. He's the corporate affairs specialist at Microsoft, a big dog in the nonprofit sector. Microsoft has a whole foundation and a whole nonprofit sector. And again, we don't always love corporations and what they do to hip hop. We don't always love what, the capitalist system does with hip hop, but they exist. And we want to make sure that, folks are doing the best they can with what they're given in these corporate structures. We can certainly use the corporate resources. We could certainly use corporations like Microsoft to go into communities that are underserved, under-resourced, and often underloved, and provide resources that those community members might not have had access to. So when they do that, we want to, big them up. And so Darrell Booker came on and talked about their work. One of the things they also did was did some work with AI and the what's now called the Hip-Hop Museum, formerly known as the Universal Hip-Hop Museum, being built in New York City. And they had a nice interaction. They developed some software for them that was really cool and innovative and interesting to talk to. We didn't get into a deep talk about AI and the entire what that means for the music business as a whole. It is a topic we're going to be covering in 2025 with some really smart people about that. I want to keep it moving because we're getting late. And I just want to, again, this is just a recap of the amazing people I talked to in 2024. And hopefully we keep it going in 2025.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick.